You know that feeling when you're sitting in a classroom and time just completely flies by because you're so into what you're learning?
Oh, absolutely. It's like the bell rings and you're genuinely surprised. Like, wait, is it over already? That's the sign of a really good subject.
Exactly, and that's what we're going to dig into today. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode. Jake, I'm so glad you're here because I know you have strong opinions about this.
Strong opinions might be putting it mildly. I'm Jake, and yeah, I could probably talk about my favorite school subjects for hours, so you might have to cut me off.
I'll keep you in check, don't worry. So, to kick things off properly, let's set the scene. What was the one subject that just clicked for you? The one where everything made sense?
For me, hands down, it was history. It wasn't just memorizing dates for me. It felt more like this grand, endless story, full of drama and plot twists. I was completely hooked.
A grand story. I love that. It's a great way of putting it, seeing it as a narrative rather than just a list of facts. For me, though, my heart belonged to English literature. I was that kid who actually looked forward to the assigned reading.
You were one of those. I have to admit, I sometimes just skimmed the reading for history. But I get the appeal. With literature, you're basically getting a backstage pass into someone else's mind, right?
Exactly. A backstage pass. That's a perfect way to phrase it. It wasn't just about analyzing metaphors. It was about understanding why people do what they do. Okay, let's bring our listeners into this. What about you guys? What was the subject that didn't feel like work?
Yeah, the one where you'd get a bit of a buzz from figuring something out. For me, that buzz came from connecting the dots between a past event and why the world is the way it is today. It felt like being a detective.
A detective? So you weren't just passively reading, you were actively investigating. I can see that. With literature, my detective work was figuring out a character's true motives, reading between the lines of what they were saying.
Reading between the lines is a good one. It's that skill of understanding the hidden or implied meaning, not just the words on the surface. And I guess for you, the reward wasn't a solved case, but a fully understood character.
Right, the aha moment. So let's talk about the teacher factor, because I think a subject can live or die by the teacher. Did you have a specific history teacher who lit that fire for you?
Absolutely. Mr. Davies. He didn't just stand at the front of the room droning on. He'd stride around, use these wild hand gestures. And suddenly, the French Revolution wasn't just a paragraph in a textbook. It was a real chaotic human event.
It sounds like he brought it to life. My equivalent was Mrs. Chen. She had this incredibly calm voice, and when she read Shakespeare aloud, the old language suddenly made perfect sense. She just had a gift for it.
That's the magic of a great teacher. They're a translator. They take something that seems like a foreign language, whether it's Elizabethan English or the complex politics of 18th century France, and make it accessible.
Accessible is a key word. It means easy to reach, understand, or use. And Mrs. Chen definitely did that. She didn't talk down to us. She just illuminated the text. Did Mr. Davies have a knack for making things relevant to a bunch of teenagers?
He had a real knack for it, yeah. I remember when we were studying the Industrial Revolution, he didn't just talk about steam engines. He connected it to the invention of the smartphone, this massive technological shift that completely changed how people lived, worked, and even thought.
That's such a smart parallel. It pulls the past into the present. For me, the relevance in literature came from seeing my own teenage angst reflected in characters from hundreds of years ago. It made me feel less alone, honestly.
That's powerful. It's that universal human experience thing. A Roman soldier writing home, a Victorian factory worker, their lives are different, but their feelings aren't. That's what good history shows you too. Okay, let's get tangible. What was the one project or moment from your literature class that you still remember?
Oh, that's an easy one. We had to write a missing chapter for To Kill a Mockingbird. We had to get inside Scout's head and mimic Harper Lee's style. It was daunting at first. I mean, it felt like a huge task.
Daunting means intimidating, sort of scary. So you had to become a copycat, but a really creative one. That sounds way more fun than my big project, which was a 20-page research paper on the Treaty of Versailles. Nearly did me in.
Did me in, meaning it exhausted you, but I bet you can still tell me a thing or two about the Treaty of Versailles. See, that's the thing about a deep dive with Bat. It sticks with you. My missing chapter might not be historically important, but it taught me about voice and empathy.
It teaches you to walk a mile in someone else's shoes, which is basically the whole point of both history and literature, isn't it? To build that empathy muscle. Speaking of which, were there any parts of your favorite subject you just hated? Be honest.
Okay, if I'm being brutally honest, timed poetry analysis essays. The pressure to have a profound, perfectly structured insight in 40 minutes flat was a creativity killer. It felt so mechanical.
I was just about to say the same thing about document-based questions in history, DBQs. Analyze the sourcing and point of view of these 6 documents. It felt like a tick box exercise, not real history.
Exactly. It sucks the soul out of it, doesn't it? It's like the system was trying to make a beautiful, messy process into something you could grade with a rubric, completely formulaic.
Right. Real history, the messy, debated, we don't have all the facts kind, happened outside of those DBQs. It's in the footnotes, the personal letters, the biased accounts. That's the good stuff.
And that's what I loved about the classroom discussions Mrs. Chen led. It wasn't about the right answer. It was about backing up your interpretation with evidence from the text. So we'd have these really lively debates about a character's motivation.
A good debate is where real learning happens. You have to think on your feet. It's one thing to have an opinion. It's another to defend it on the spot. That's a life skill, not just a history or English skill.
Couldn't agree more. It teaches you to articulate your thoughts clearly and respectfully disagree. So let's pivot slightly. How has your love of history shaped what you do now, or even just how you see the world?
It's made me a more critical consumer of news, for sure. When I see a headline, I immediately start wondering about context, about what happened 10, 20, or 100 years ago that led to this moment. It's a built-in lie detector in a way.
A built-in lie detector? That's brilliant. It's a defense mechanism against simplistic narratives. For me, literature gave me a more nuanced emotional vocabulary. I'm better at identifying why something makes me feel a certain way, and better at understanding the emotional responses of others.
Nuanced means having subtle, complex shades of meaning. It's the opposite of black and white thinking. And I think both our subjects train you to embrace nuance. Life isn't simple, and neither is a good novel or a historical event.
Exactly. It's the perfect word for it. Maybe that's why we gravitate towards these subjects. They teach you that the world isn't just good guys and bad guys. There's a whole gray area. Was there ever a time history surprised you with a gray area like that?
Oh, constantly. Learning about people like Oskar Schindler, a war profiteer, a member of the Nazi Party, a womanizer, but he also saved over 1,000 lives. He's not a saint, he's complicated. Real people are complicated.
That's a perfect and powerful example of a morally complex figure. You can't put him in a box. Literature is full of characters like that too. The anti-heroes you can't help but root for, even if you know they're making terrible choices.
Right, like Macbeth or Severus Snape. You're wrestling with your own judgment of them. I think that mental wrestling match is the most valuable part of an education. It's weight training for your conscience.
Weight training for your conscience. I am going to steal that phrase. It's perfect. This all ties back to curiosity, doesn't it? The best subjects don't close a book and give you all the answers. They open a new door and leave you with more questions.
That's the mark of a lifelong learner. The history I love most isn't the definitive account. It's the historian saying, the evidence suggests this, but we can't know for sure. That little mystery is what keeps you up at night.
Yes, a little intellectual itch you can't scratch. It's so much more motivating than a final chapter that ties everything up with a neat bow. Life rarely works that way, and the best subjects don't pretend it does. Do you think schools kill that natural curiosity sometimes?
I think they can, unintentionally. When you make a subject all about the final exam, the grade, the GPA, you squeeze all the joy out of it. It becomes a chore. You stop asking why and start asking, will this be on the test?
Nail on the head. You hit the nail right on the head. That shift from intrinsic interest, I want to know this for me, to extrinsic motivation, I need to know this for the grade, is a tragedy. It's a real loss.
And it took me years to rediscover that intrinsic love for history after university. Now I read history books for fun, which 19-year-old me would find absolutely baffling.
19-year-old you was probably just burned out. Okay, imagine you're a teacher for a day, trying to win over a room of skeptical 15-year-olds. What's your opening line to get them hooked on history?
I'd probably start with a scandal. Forget the dates. I'd say, all right, who wants to hear about the time a British monarch tried to hide a secret illegal marriage from his entire government? Instant hook. They love gossip, and history is just old gossip with consequences.
Old gossip with consequences. That is the best elevator pitch for history I've ever heard. My literature pitch would be similar. I'd probably read them the most scandalous, gossipy poem I could find and ask, what do you think happened to this relationship?
You see, it's the same instinct. We're nosy by nature. We want to know the stories, the secrets, the drama. The curriculum just often strips the drama away and gives you the skeleton instead of the living, breathing thing.
The skeleton, right? Just the dry bones of themes and grammar rules. But speaking of bones, even the structure of a sentence, the grammar, can be beautiful, can't it? I remember the first time I truly understood what a semicolon did. It felt like unlocking a secret level in a game.
Leave it to you to find beauty in a semicolon. But I get it. It's a tool of nuance. It connects two related independent clauses without a conjunction. It shows a relationship. That's not just grammar, that's logic and rhythm. It's the sentence-level version of a historian connecting two events.
Exactly. It's elegant. It's saying these two ideas are separate but intimately linked. No one else in my class cared, but Mrs. Chen noticed my excessive semicolon use and just smiled. She got it.
That's a great teacher-student connection right there. A secret society of two. It probably takes just one small moment of shared understanding with a teacher like that to make a subject your favorite for life.
Without a doubt, it's that feeling of being seen. Mr. Davies probably did that for you without even knowing it, just by making history feel like a shared secret he was letting you in on.
It felt exactly like that. He had this conspiratorial way of teaching, like the textbook is going to tell you the official story, but let me tell you what really happened. It was rebellious, and that appealed massively to a 16-year-old.
It's giving you access to a VIP area of knowledge. That's a powerful motivator. All right, let's go on a small tangent here. Was there a subject you desperately wanted to love, gave it your all, but you just couldn't make it click?
Higher-level math. Calculus, specifically. I admired it from a distance. I could see the beauty in a perfectly solved equation, this elegant, logical proof. But my brain just didn't work that way. It was like trying to play a song on an instrument I'd never learned.
That's a perfect analogy. And for me, it was the hard sciences, especially chemistry. I loved the idea of it, mixing potions and causing reactions, but the mathematical precision required just made me freeze up. It felt too rigid.
It's funny how that works. The same rigidness and logic that felt suffocating to you probably felt like a safety net to someone else. It shows how important it is to figure out how your own brain learns best.
A safety net versus a cage, exactly. It's about finding your cognitive fit. Our guests at home are probably nodding along, thinking of their own calculus or chemistry. It's such a universal experience.
For sure. And it's not a failing. I used to think I was stupid at math, but that's a toxic way of looking at it. Your brain isn't a one-size-fits-all container. It's a unique instrument. You just have to find the right music to play on it.
I wish someone had said that to me in 10th grade. It would have saved a lot of self-doubt. So, to wrap up our main discussion, if you could sum up your entire passion for history into one word, not a phrase, just one word, what would it be?
One word. That's tough. I think continuity. Because history isn't just about change. It's about the constant, unbroken threads of human nature and consequence that run through everything.
Continuity. That's profound. A thread connecting everything. For literature, I would choose empathy, because for me, every book, every poem, every play was ultimately an exercise in understanding another's soul.
Continuity and empathy. Sounds like the tagline for a very serious and probably very boring podcast. But seriously, those two together are a pretty good recipe for being a thoughtful human being.
I'd listen to that podcast. And maybe that's the real secret purpose of education. It's not to fill a bucket with facts, but to build that continuum of understanding and to light a fire of empathy.
And to give you the tools, the vocabulary, the critical thinking skills to then do something useful with that fire, to channel it, so you're not just walking around feeling overwhelmed by the world.
Right, you're equipped. So before we share our final thought, I want to share a little moment from our listener mail. We got a message from a listener named Alex, who said their favorite subject was geography because it made them realize they are not just a citizen of a country, but a citizen of a planet.
Wow, that's a fantastic perspective. It completely reframes the subject from just locating places on a map to understanding interconnected systems, cultures, and environments. I love that.
Me too. It perfectly bridges the gap between your love of human stories and the physical stage they play out on. It's another brilliant example of a subject being a lens through which to see a bigger picture.
Absolutely. It ties back to that curiosity we talked about. A good subject is a lens, not a box. It doesn't limit what you see. It brings a whole world into focus. That's a wonderful note from Alex.
It really is. So, Jake, as we come in for a landing here, what is the one takeaway you'd want our listeners to hold on to from our chat today about their own favorite subject, past or present?
I'd say don't leave it in the classroom. If a subject once made you feel alive with curiosity, go find it again. Watch a documentary, listen to a different podcast, read a book just for the pure fun of it. Rekindle that.
Rekindle is such a lovely word, to relight a fire that's almost gone out. I'd echo that and add, give yourself permission to love it in your own way. You don't need to be an academic to have a meaningful relationship with history or literature or science.
The amateur's love is often the purest kind because it's driven by nothing but genuine interest. No grade, no thesis, no paycheck depending on it. Just the joy of the thing itself.
Just the joy. That's the golden thread running through everything we've said. It wasn't about being the best in the class. It was about the feeling of being truly, deeply engaged, in a state of flow. That is worth pursuing for its own sake.
Absolutely. It enriches your inner life. It gives you a richer inner world to retreat to. And in a chaotic world, having that rich mental space filled with the stories and wonders of your favorite subject is a profound kind of wealth.
Beautifully said. So to all our listeners, take a moment today to think about that subject. Open up a little door to it, even just for 10 minutes. See where your curiosity takes you. You might be surprised at the spark it still has.
And thanks for letting us share ours. It's been a genuine pleasure strolling down this particular memory lane with you, Emma.
The pleasure was all mine, Jake. It's been a blast. A huge thank you to all of you for listening in. We love hearing your stories, so keep sharing them with us. Until next time, stay curious and be kind to your mind.